All right, we're still doing a review just so we have the actual videos uploaded so everyone can at least review what's going on. Today we're going to review what we went over last time with basic Unix commands, and then we'll try and finish them up. Have any of y'all started working on the homework for this one? No one yet? Yeah. I don't blame you. Y'all had good Eclipse Day?
No.
Oh, were y'all here?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You saw that.
Yeah, it was around 2:10. I looked out, I was like, it's just gonna rain. And then my wife said, yeah, we're in West Ashley Park. It's bright and it's shiny here. So I was like, all right, I'll go drive down there. And it was one of those classic moments where you drive up, you park the vehicle, you walk up, you're going up to the wife, to say hi, and then it all goes dark. It was classic.
When I left here, I drove through the rain, so right when I got to where my house was, it was all sun.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, okay.
I remember that. I was going down 26.
Yeah.
Wet, dry.
Was
Exactly.
there any traffic?
No,
No.
there was no traffic.
Traffic.
There was
No.
nothing.
Get ready.
It was hilarious. You were driving down,
Exactly.
and everyone was on like lounge chairs with those glasses looking up.
It's like
The
it's
first-
less traffic than normal.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's-
Way.
Man, I'm really upset.
Yeah,
I
I,
leave here because I was like, man, traffic's gonna be
I
really
mean,
bad.
well, how did I know, right? I just took a risk. It could have just cleared up here, right?
Yeah.
It could have cleared up here and then started raining down there. But I was like, I might as well go with the family, right?
It did not,
I thought that.
It did not, though. That's correct. I ended up making the correct decision.
Okay.
Hopefully, there's still some good videos out there that y'all seen. Yeah.
It's not the same, is it?
No.
I get to see it with my own eyes.
The two things I believe you meant, well, three. One is that just the environment of everything being that dark, even though it's the middle of the day.
It's like street lights on.
Two, the shadows are weird. Like the shadows that cast from trees, it's like they can't decide where they're going to be. It's
I get it.
really.
I missed it. I missed out.
And then the third one is, I'm sorry, I guess I'm just rubbing it in.
Yeah. No, it's fine. It's hurting more.
It's hurting more, I'll just keep stabbing. The third one I thought was cool is right when the moon started leaving, that tiny sliver of light, everything just brightened right up.
Oh, really?
Like that was all that was needed was that tiny brightness, and then it's back to daylight. It's like someone turned the lights on. So it's amazing how little of the sun you need to brighten everything up.
Yeah, next time there's one, I'm just gonna travel to the best place to see it and do that.
It's they're
Yeah, 7 years, and then you can. It's like.
7 years. It's people were saying this. Oh, you gotta wait a century, and I'm like, I
Yes.
don't think that's how long this takes.
No.
It happens actually a lot. No, I mean not every year, but
I know that's from my sister's high school graduation. Where it's like, okay, we're just gonna go on a trip. It's
See ya. All right. Anyways, talked about Linux. I use command line, like real programmers. Terminals. This is terminal. That's terminal. Text editors. Have any of y'all experimented with the text editors any, or looked at them? A little bit. I know we got one Emacs person. That's okay.
I've looked at Emacs's.
VI?
I've looked at VI and like it would get better.
Yeah, they're both. The thing to understand about both VI and Emacs is there's a learning curve, no matter what, and you have to research which one you think is going to be better for you. Because once you get past the learning curve, things are a lot better, a whole lot better. Talked about VI, talked about Emacs. Still love that picture of Emacs. Nano, when all else fails, just use Nano, but don't always use Nano. There's some GUI versions if you prefer that. All right, commands. How much of these commands, or how many of these commands, or how much of the commands, however you want me to ask, made sense to you? You're probably used to it a little. Yeah, so you're good. People who are new to it, how much of this made sense? Any of it?
About half.
About half of it? I mean, I understand it's new. And now for something completely different. I was trying to see if it helped any. All right, so let's go over here. Let me go ahead and clear this out. Let's see, 315. So, clear. So this is the actual master repository on my machine. ls gives me a listing of all the files there. One thing to keep in mind, a directory is a file. A directory is simply a file that points to other files. That's all. Highlighted in blue here, so we can actually change into it. If you wanted to do a long listing, gives you a bunch of information about each one. Notice that a directory under this operating system takes 4 kilobytes. It's just the way it is. I can go into change directory into lab1. I have 2 files in there. I can do ls-l. Gives me the size, permissions. I'm the owner and I'm the group. Last time it was touched, the timestamp, August 21st at 7:19, and then they go to PDF and docx. Now, when you do an ls-l, it lists most of what's out there. If you do an ls-la or just a -a, it's going to list everything. Notice that there's also a .git, there's also a dot and a dot. A dot and dot seems, they'll make more sense in a little while. But .git is another directory that was hidden that actually contains all the Git information for our repository. Because I could change directory into it, do another ls, and hey, look at all this stuff that's in here. Don't ever mess with this, by the way. I'm just showing you it exists. This is just what Git has for configuring its repositories. If you try and mess with that, your repository will probably stop functioning. So don't do it. -lh will try and make it human readable. See how it says 4K as in kilobytes, as opposed to if we did not have the H, where it would just list everything out verbatim how many bytes it took up. All right, let me get out of this directory. Changing directory, moving up one. Hey look, I talked about CD. That's great. The change directory make sense? Perfect. Make directory, remove directory. We good there? Creating a file with cat. All right, we can create a file with cat. This was probably kind of confusing, especially since we could just use nano. I just want to show you there's a lot of different ways to go about it. Y'all okay with just creating a file with nano? All right. Copy. Under Windows, you had to type out the whole word copy. In the Linux world, that's way too much effort. So we just use CP. You can copy one file to another, -I to ask before overwriting, display progress, so forth and so on. Anything you want me to, and then there's a recursive copy which will get all the directories as well. Anything in particular you want me to revisit here? All right. Remove. Again, under Windows, you have to type out the word remove. But we just do RM. Same thing, just be careful that you don't delete the wrong things, because it doesn't ask you, it just does it. There's no moving it to the trash and then emptying the trash, or moving to the recycle bin and then emptying the recycle bin. It's just gone. It's gone. There are actually some advanced techniques to recover it, but they are not guaranteed to work. So do not rely on that. Please do not rely on that. It will end poorly. All right, we talked about directories, where pwd will give you your full directory. Notice that in general, it's also displayed right here. Because you have username at the machine name : the location you're currently at. So you can do an ls of this directory. I can do ls of lab01, and that'll tell me relatively what's in lab01 directory of my current directory. But I could also do ls home quest CSU courses. I notice I just hit tab for it to complete for me. csci 315, tab again to complete, /lab01. It's going to display the same thing. These two commands end up being the exact same. Literally what's happening, no joke here, is in the first command it sees that there's a relative address. It prepends everything that's needed and then sends what's in the second command to the program. So when you're doing relative, you're using the bash interpreter to go ahead and expand everything out for you. We good there? Now, if I were to go into lab 01, well, hold on, let me do an ls again. ls of my current directory, notice I'm csci 315 fall 2017. If I change directory into lab 01, these are now my contents. But if I want to see what's up one level, I can do ls .. And then it tells me what's in the actual CSI directory. Another way to go about this is if I want to use absolute path, I can do ls home quest csu, whoops, courses csci 315, and that ends up being the exact same command, because when it sees .. it's like, okay, we're going to prepend whatever, the beginning up to the 2017, aka take off a directory. All right. Any questions? Comments? Perfect. Move is how you move files. By the way, and that's just moving one file to another. I'm going to ask this, and I'm just giving you a big hint. Or I'll first tell you something. There is no rename in Linux. Since there's no rename, how do you change the name of a file? You move it. All right? Because really that's all rename is doing, is actually moving it. If you take OS and file systems, you'll see why they're the same thing. PWD prints the current working directory, and file will display some file information in case you don't know what type of file it is. Before I forget to tell you, Linux does not care about file extensions. So, I'm going to make a directory class code. Oh, it already exists. Sweet. What's in it? Nothing. Good. If I go to vim notes, notice I didn't give an extension. I just say this is a note. I'm going to save it. ls-l8. It's just called notes. It's a text file, but Linux doesn't care about file extensions. So it just happens to be a text file. And Linux just knows that by really how it's described. You do file notes. Hey, it's an ASCII text. See? It figured it out. So keep that in mind, because a lot of times, if you really delve into a lot of programs, they're going to have a file called readme, all caps. It's a text file. Even though it doesn't say readme.txt, it just says readme. It's a text file. All right, head. Head, tail, and word count. All right. Notes. Let's go ahead and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 9. 2 nines. 10, 11, 12, 34. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, good. We're good. Go ahead and save that file out. If I do head on notes, it just displays the top, looks like 10 lines. If I do tail notes, it displays the last 10 lines. If I do WC notes, it tells me how many, what was it? I forgot what it did. Let me find out. New line, word, and byte. Great. WC notes. 21 lines, 23 words, 62 characters. The file name is notes. What did I just do to figure out how that command worked? I used another command called man, which stands for manual. Bring up the manual on word count, or WC. When you do that, it'll tell you WC, print new line, word, and byte counts for each files. You can do this for other things. Man ls, list directory contents. Oh, and when you go into this, you can up and down arrows to read the whole entry. When you want to quit, you hit Q. If you want to search for something like all, you hit / what you want to search for, and then it'll highlight it for you. And you can hit N to go to the next one. So you have ls, welcome. Ooh, G++. It's not installed yet? Nope, we got it. All right, so G++ isn't have a manual page. That happens sometimes. But you can also do a man on CD, which I guess doesn't have one either. Most commands do. So I have configure the network interface. Tells you how to configure it. Okay. Find grep and ln. Ln's not that important. Grep is. If you want to find something, like you want to grep for the number 9 in everything, well, it finds grep 9. Did I tell you which command? Nope. All right. We'll go more into grep later, but grep is handy if you're trying to find something from the command line and you don't know where it is. Any questions on that? Nothing so far?